There's one critical step that you can take for your organization to help protect your visual brand, and that is by creating and having and utilizing a style guide or a brand guidelines document. It goes by many names, but basically this is an intentional PDF that covers typography and iconography and design assets, and it helps you to protect your brand. Now, I don't know about you, but I've seen several businesses and churches and nonprofits that they'll have one logo on their truck, one logo on their business card, one logo on the signage that's in front of their actual office space. And this is a really great way to dilute your brand. People need to be able to see your logo and your iconography and your colors and your shapes and everything else about your visual brand. And it needs to be something that is memorable and iconic. And when they see it, they know it. The problem is if you are using different colors often that aren't part of your brand guidelines document, or if you're stretching your logo or warping it or doing something different with your brand than you should be doing, or you're using different logos entirely for different applications, your brand is not going to become iconic. It's not going to be memorable. It will be forgotten because you are diluting your visual brand. And so a brand guidelines document or a style guide is a great tool, a great resource that you can create and use to make sure that you're protecting your visual brand. Now, there are some documents that are brand guidelines documents that are a little bit more detailed than just the aesthetics of your brand, but a visual identity system or a viz or a style guide, typically that's just from the visual standpoint of your brand, things like colors and typeface, icon usage, logo usage, etc. And so this video, we're going to be walking through not only the importance of a style guide or a brand guidelines document, but also we're going to be looking at one and giving you some really good examples of the main types of things that should be included in this type of style guide or brand guidelines document. Okay, so this is a brand guidelines document that we created for a logo that we created for Insights Insurance Agency. They're an insurance company that's here in Central Florida. And basically they hired us to design the logo for them, but then also to come up with typography, colors, fonts, etc. And then also to put together this brand guidelines document. For every logo that we do, I typically recommend to our customers and to our clients to create a brand guidelines document or to have us create one for them. This is a really great tool if you have interns that are posting on social media on your behalf. Whether you're a for-profit business or a church or a nonprofit, you want to make sure, again, that your brand is something that's iconic and it's not being diluted by different versions of your brand or using the wrong colors or something like that. So we're going to kind of walk through this and showcase some of the main things that you want to make sure you're including. The first thing that I'd recommend is just sort of an intro page. So this page basically says, welcome to the Insights Insurance Agency brand guidelines. This guide is a resource for anyone interacting with the Insights Insurance Agency brand. It basically just talks about the importance. If you're interacting with our brand, whether you're a screen printer that's printing shirts for us, or you're designing a vehicle wrap for our vehicles, or you're printing business cards or posting on social media, here's how we use the brand, here's how we don't use it. The next page here is all about the logo itself. So basically here is the approved logo in all of its approved different formats. Here is how the logo should be used versus how it shouldn't be used. So you can see here we have a full logo version, or it's approved to just use the icon by itself, or you might want to use it in black for a certain application, or if you need to use the logo on top of a color, here's the approved color palette options that it could be used in white on top of. So really what we're trying to do here is safeguard against somebody using the logo in a way to where you're not going to be able to read it. So you can see kind of in the bottom right corner here, there's that poor contrast item there for something that's not approved. It's on some sort of reddish burgundy color. So you can't actually even read the text because the contrast is so poor. But some other things here, it says do not add any kind of drop shadow, don't stretch it, don't warp it. You could say don't add any kind of stroke to it or any kind of outline to it. There's several different things that you can include here for ways not to use the logo. And this is hopefully going to prevent an intern or an employee or somebody else from designing something for social media or signage where the logo is stretched, it's warped, because again, that's a really great way to dilute your brand, is if your logo is being misused in really any context. The next page here is all about typography. So with any brand, of course, you have the text that's in your logo. And in this particular case, the text that's in the logo is also the text that's approved for other print collateral as well. So if we're doing trifolds for this particular brand, if they're getting signage made, if they're getting business cards made, they're going to use this approved text and this approved text only. Now, for other brands, they might have certain text that's used in the logo itself, but different text that's used in print collateral, the website, etc. But all of that needs to be spelled out in this style guide or in this brand guidelines document. You can see here they're using Sarah Pro. They're using Sarah Pro Bold. So really headings should probably be in the bold font, or you could use the non-bold version of it for body text or something like that. But again, the typography needs to be spelled out very clearly. This is what all of the letters look like. This is what the typography looks like. Here's the fonts that we use for our brand, just so people aren't using Papyrus or Comic Sans or something like that if they're putting together a flyer or a social media post for your brand. The next page here is all about colors. So your color palette's a big deal. People should also be able to recognize your brand instantly when they see your color palette. So you can see here for Insights Insurance Agency, we have 6 colors that are approved. And this could be used in print collateral. They could be used in flyers or trifolds or social media or on the website. But we should never use the color red, or we should never use the color brown. So these are the only 6 colors that we need to use if we're creating something for this particular brand. A few different things that you want to make sure that we're including in the color palette section are your different color codes. I recommend having CMYK. This is going to be used primarily for print. Your RGB codes, and that'll be used a lot on the website and even creating graphics for social media, really any sort of digital context. And then you have your hex code, which of course is going to be used also in an online context on your website. So again, you want to make sure that you're including all of the different colors that are approved to use for this brand so that people aren't, designing your t-shirt in hot pink or something like that. We're only using brand approved colors. You might also have a section of your particular style guide or brand guidelines document that talks about design assets or shapes. If you guys have a brand that utilizes, squiggly lines or circles or X's or something like that, that's also part of your brand, you can include that as well. I also recommend having a section in here that showcases, here's what the brand looks like when it's approved in the correct context. This could be mock-ups of pop-up banners. It could be mock-ups of flyers or business cards or something like that. But this basically just showcases, here's what the brand looks like if it's being used correctly. And hopefully that will, again, prevent somebody from using it incorrectly so that you can, again, safeguard your brand and your logo against being misused, misrepresented, or being kind of misconstrued in some context. If you don't know where to start with getting your style guide created or creating a style guide or creating color codes or creating typography, or maybe you haven't even gotten that far and you still need to have a logo created, you can reach out to me directly. I'd love to give you any just free feedback or free insight that I can to help you either create your brand or grow your brand. So again, you can reach out to me at design@richie-creative.com. As always, if you don't know where to start with your website design, your logo design, your visual brand in general, we offer free strategy sessions. You can go to our website at richie-creative.com and sign up for a free strategy session with me where we can poke through your website. We can talk about your online presence, your branding, your logo design, your marketing strategy to you as a business, as a nonprofit leader, as a pastor of a church. So you can reach out to me again by visiting our website at richie-creative.com. Hey, if you haven't got a chance to download our free PDF resource on our website yet, it is the Blueprint for the Perfect Website. It walks you through all of the top components that you want to make sure that you're including on your homepage of your website to get more calls, get more leads, not just any old lead, but leads that are actually pre-positioned to buy. So again, you can download that free PDF resource on our website at richie-creative.com. It is the Blueprint for the Perfect Website.